sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. Hard sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Hard sports all plays.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
This is Joey Owens' show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn podcast I've ever been on. So you all can kiss my ass while I win this match.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room, Monday, September 25th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzo'S, joined by Tony Gonzo'S. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. A little tired, but hanging in there.
And joined by Marcus Fine, as always. How's it going, Marcus?
Doing good.
And then we're joined by Austin Gonzalez. How's it going, Austin?
Yeah, Marcus is surrounded by Gonzalez today.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well, I'll kind of let you go ahead like
Okay.
normal.
All right, well,
I'll finish getting this stuff.
we'll go ahead and get started with our indie wrestling. Marcus, I'll let you go because I know you did shows Friday and also Saturday and Sunday, and you had some other results too. So,
What ones you want me to do? You want to cover Saturday, Sunday?
I was gonna let you kind of take care of it all. We'll chime in on Saturday and Sunday if that's okay.
All right, you want me to go ahead and do the results for the 2 days we recorded?
Well, it was live Sunday. Saturday, you should give results.
That's fine.
That'd be fine. It'll be all right.
All right, well, there's a lot of them then, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Saturday was a good show, but it was a long one.
Okay, Friday night, WCWO at the Outlaw Arena. I'm thinking all three shows had about the same amount of people. And then including the one at FEW in Greenfield, they had 55. So I'm guessing all the shows had about 50, give or take a few. So, WCWO Friday, Scorpion defeated Jackson Morgan. And the interesting thing there is Scorpion was in the Danville parade for Warrior Pro Wrestling and then ran over to the dub and was in the opener. So, so Scorpion defeated Jackson Morgan. Pogo defeated Johnny Eagle. Johnny Eagle is an old timer back from the Basher days. TJ Powers defeated Waterboy via countout. TJ Power pile drive Waterboy on the concrete floor 2 times. He literally lifted that mat up and dropped him twice. Damon Real defeated JB to retain the territorial title. Blake Money Wright defeated War Ready Maliko, match of the night. Hammer defeated Jake Phoenix, and Hidori defeated the Outlaw champion Damon Real in a non-title match.
Hey, Marcus, can I ask you a question real quick? Because you've seen them even more than I have. But just in the short time that we've been going to shows, been 2 years now, and you've been doing a lot longer, as a rookie, and no more matches that Malenko's had, I think he's one of the better rookies I think I've seen at this stage, this early.
Well, between him and that guy that wrestled the opener at Summit Pro,
Yes.
he was. If they didn't tell us he was a rookie, we never would have known that either. So,
No, that's
between
true,
those
man.
guys, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, man, these guys, I mean, have been doing it, what, Malenko, at the most 2 months?
Or whenever the end of August, I think is when that was.
And he is you would never know. He's just phenomenal. So, and then the other gentleman also, which I can't remember his name right now, but Chris, you
His
don't
name
remember.
was Wolf, but that's all I can remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his name was Wolf, and he came from the NGW, I think, Academy.
Supreme.
Yeah.
His
No,
from the South.
no, he trained at with what's his name?
Damien.
Damon. He trained with Damon Michael Coe.
Oh, okay. You mean New Era?
Yeah, New Era.
New Era, yeah.
I said the other one. Sorry.
When you said that Malcolm comes from Supreme, that's where I went with that. But
Yeah.
New Era.
Yeah, New Era.
So, all right, Saturday. All these are bracket matches except the females, and I'll go ahead and do the females first. Storm Garcon defeated DJ the Destroyer. She won the vacated JICW Ladies title. Carrie Brody relinquished that title during intermission when she had a falling out with the promoter Stephen Hurt, and then they had the match right after, and Storm Garcon defeated TJ the Destroyer to win that vacant title. Then for the Boston Memorial Tournament brackets, Brutus Dillon defeated Big T Thomas Moore. Tyler Scott defeated the Face Collector Jared Savage via countout. Nick Diamond defeated Country Boy Zach. And Tyler Bodine defeated Kevin Storm. Then we went to the second round. Jared Kripke defeated Brutus Dillon. Nick Diamond defeated Sanji. Excalibur defeated Tyler Bodine. And Tyler Scott defeated Tyler Lee Deputy. And then the third round, which would be the semifinals, Excalibur, no, that wouldn't be right. Well, anyway, the next round, Excalibur defeated Nick Diamond, and Jared Kripke defeated Tyler Scott. Yeah, that'd be the semifinals. And then the finals, Excalibur defeated Jared Kripke in one of the best hardcore matches I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
it was
that,
fantastic.
including the one I'd seen just 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, Austin Fury, so Excalibur is the new Austin Fury Memorial Champion.
Yeah, real quick on that show. A couple things stood out to me. First of all, it was a real good show. My first time, me and Chris being down to Martinsville. Thought it was a real good show, real solid. Really enjoyed it. First of all, like you said, that main event match for that championship, the hardcore match was fantastic. Man, them two beat the crap out of each other. It was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. And then also the Bodine, is it Tyler?
Tyler Bodine.
Yeah, really stood out to me. Really enjoyed him. And all the wrestlers were great, did a great job, but he really stood out to me also. First time seeing him. So I was really impressed with him. So then were two things that really stood out to me about that show.
And of course, the main event was the match of the night. I'm saying it had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree with what you guys said about it. The main event was real good. It was a solid show. I thought they kept it moving for having so many matches. I thought they kept it moving pretty good. The show moving pretty good. Didn't drag out like I've seen some shows. So I thought it was a pretty good night.
Do you know when you'll air that? I've got a lot of people asking. They want to see that.
Probably it'll be Thursday evening.
Okay.
Is what we'll shoot for. We'll say Thursday.
You know what time? So it's going to be about 3.5 hours long, do about 7 or so, or 7:30.
Oh, no, I haven't really thought about it far ahead yet.
Okay. We'll make it close.
I'll say tentatively Thursday. So.
Yeah, we'll say. Trying to think what was. Yeah. Well, we'll say Thursday at 7.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's that? Well, yeah, tentatively.
Card subject to change.
Yeah, tentatively. And Lord knows if you know what I was there at 10 o'clock Saturday. The card was subject to change. So
yeah.
many times that was not the way that was supposed to come out. But he did a fantastic job filling in the gaps, waiting on the Danville people because 4 of those guys were on an Austin Fury title or memorial show in Lafayette.
Yeah.
and he postponed the show start till 7 so those guys could get down here. And yeah, and I'm sorry I don't have those results from off yet. I didn't think to get those, but they had a good match at the show up there too, I was told. So
Yeah, that's what I heard.
all right, yesterday we were all at Warrior Pro 2, or Warrior Pro Year 2, their 2-year anniversary show. The Beaver Boys defeated Cecil Cerveza and Tyler Scott to retain the WPW tag titles. Hadari defeated Christopher Gates in the Battle of the Big Guys. Christopher Gates come from over from Illinois. I've seen him before, and that was a pretty good match between those two big guys.
Yeah.
Now I'll try to keep this straightened up. Hello, Richard. The Buck Sexton and Dylan Cole defeated Blake Money Wright in a handicap match, and that made the Buck Sexton the number 1 contender for the WPW title. What's up, Billy? Then I'm saying probably match of the night. Jesse Winchester defeated Zay Gates when Zay passed out. For Jesse could retain the WPW Warrior Pride title. Logan Myers defeated Jackson Morgan via countout. And then the Buck Sexton defeated Hammer and Scorpion when he made the commissioner enforce the number 1 contender spot that he just won earlier in the night. He pinned Hammer and became the new WPW champion. So some interesting things are coming down the a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. So Buck Sexton is the new champ. Nobody's seen that coming. So and Kate Parrish, and Kate Parrish, we want to congratulate her. Her and her husband are going to be a father-mother thing. That's not the way to say it. But anyway, she's going to be a mother, and she relinquished her WPW Ladies title. So
yes,
see where that goes. So we want to congratulate Kate and Jesse on their upcoming family member.
Yeah, Marcus, I agree with you on the match of the night. I thought that match with Jesse and Zay was outstanding. I thought they put on a great show. Over commentary when I was over there, I talked about how, well, of course, Zay is just so improved and fantastic, but how much I think Jesse's improved since coming back from his injury and all the work, passing the extra matches and training and stuff he's done. It was a great match. I really enjoyed that match. It was definitely the match tonight for me.
At the end, Dylan Cole was literally knocked out of his shoes, and
yeah, he was.
They did have the Warrior Pride pizza in the concession stand. I did have it, very good. We almost stopped and got one on the way home. A little spicy for people like it, but it was very good. So, okay, then I contacted Alex from Frontier Elite Wrestling. They had their show Supremacy in Greenfield yesterday as well. They drew 55. And those results was the FEW Mid-Continental title match. Luke Savage retained over Dalton Love via countout. A team I'm not familiar with called the British Empire. They defeated Max Sterling and Cousin Cooter. In a triple threat ladies title match, the FE Women's title champion holder Thunder Kitty retained over Shauna Reed and Haley Shadows by pinning Haley Shadows. Now that's 3 of the top ladies in the state right now, so that had to be one heck of a thing. One-man crew defeated Matt Vengeance by a pinfall. Then Lennox Leone defeated Scarecrow. He had a handful of tights. And Scarecrow, and the stipulation was that Scarecrow could never be a contender as long as Lennox and Rampage are champions. So, and in the main event, the FEW Heavyweight Championship, their champion Brandon Day versus Dylan Bostic versus Mitchell Taylor. Brandon won via submission when he forced Bostic to tap, and then Mitchell attacked him. Bostic made the save, and I guess they'll go with probably a Brandon Day versus Mitchell Taylor match next month, and that show's October 22nd, I think.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
thank you to Alex for sending those over to me. So that's 4 of the shows I know that happened this weekend. I know BMFX did well. I wish I had gotten the results. I wasn't even thinking, or I would have reached out to him too. So that's 5 shows I know that went really well this weekend. So
Okay, well, next up we'll go to our wrestling reviews for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and that stuff. First of all, Monday Night Raw had the Viking Raiders Ivar take on Kofi Kingston. May have been match of the week. It was an outstanding match. Really enjoyed it. Had Nakamura against Ricochet. That was a good match, but it just added to the story with Seth Rollins coming out to try to help Ricochet and Nakamura hurting Rollins some more. Really building up that feud. I'm wondering if we're going to get maybe a Hell in a Cell at that next pay-per-view there in Indianapolis. I think there's going to be some kind of stipulation match there. I'm wondering if it's going to end up being Hell in a Cell the way they're pushing it. Next up, had Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. A lot of good storytelling with the Judgment Day being involved and a lot of different stuff going on. Jey Uso is trying to get Jey Uso to join the Judgment Day. He wasn't joined, but set up McIntyre getting the victory over him. So a lot of storyline stuff going on SmackDown and on Raw. Next up was NXT. Had Becky Lynch agree to a championship rematch against Tiffany Stratton at No Mercy. Also had a great match between Butch and Tyler Bate. Also up there for match of the week. Really good. And then also Roxanne Perez took on Lola Vice. She was a competitor that came from Bellator. And you talk about somebody that's the first time I've seen her. She looked fantastic. It was also a very good show. Next up, we had AEW Dynamite. That was the big event they had there at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Eddie Kingston beat Claudio Castagnoli. I thought it was the best match of the night. I had basically Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho do the Jericho Shawn Michaels story that they happened. I think one of the WrestleManias where Jericho turned on Shawn Michaels after the match, after Michaels beat him, because Jericho beat Guevara and now Guevara turned on him, kicked him in the balls. It looked almost exactly the same. So maybe they're trying to pay tribute to that, or maybe they're just ripping it off. I don't know. Next up, had Ray Phoenix against John Moxley. Had a lot of stuff going on with that on the internet. Moxley got hurt during that match, got a concussion. Referee, I think Moxley was supposed to win the match originally, and the referee stopped the count and didn't count. Then he hit the move again, hit another DDT or pile driver again, and a lot of fans, a lot of people upset. So Moxley did lose the championship to Ray Phoenix. We'll see what happens there. And then we had MJF versus Samoa Joe, and a really good match. MJF retained the title over Samoa Joe. So, and again, MJF's the best thing they've got going, I think, right now in AEW. Pretty good show this week from them. We'll give them a lot of credit. It was a good show. Next up, we had SmackDown. Had a lot of good matches on SmackDown this week. Had Asuka against Io Sky. Io Sky retained the championship. I thought it was a really good match. Had LWO, Rey Mysterio, and Santos Escobar against the Street Profits. Street Profits lost. Bobby Lashley was very upset that they didn't finish them when they had the opportunity. He told them if they wasn't ready to be a part of his group, and basically walked out on them. So we'll see what's going to happen with that there. Also, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller took on Butch and Ridge Holland. They got the victory there. And then we had John Cena in the ring with the Bloodline, and they took him out. And it was supposed to be a contract signing with Cena and Styles. Styles got took out in the back. I think originally, at least the rumor was, that LA Knight was supposed to save Cena and going to be his new partner, but LA Knight got COVID, showed up at the arena that day and tested positive for COVID. So I think he is going to end up being his partner in Indianapolis. So that's going to be a big spot for LA Knight. But SmackDown was strong. It was a good show. And then real quick, wanted to see what you guys thought about the releases in WWE. Austin, especially you. I hadn't got to talk to you. What do you think about some of the releases?
I mean, Dolph Ziggler, I don't get it at all. That one's probably the worst release they've had out of all of them that they've done since they started these the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, they hadn't used him for a year,
I
pretty
mean,
much,
yeah,
hardly at all.
I mean they
But
haven't,
I
but
know what you're saying, talent-wise.
I just I just don't think they should have got rid of him. I think he's one of the best they've ever had. Honestly,
Well, going
yeah,
along those lines, you'd have to say Sheldon Benjamin too.
yeah. You're right. I think it's a little different because he left and came back. So I mean, he was kind of out of there already. But in that sense, yeah, Shelton should have been multi. I think he should have been WWE champion. And the fact that neither one of them was WWE champion ever is kind of crazy to me, to be honest.
Uh, Matt Riddle, I think he just had a lot of chances and blew it.
Yeah. Well, it probably didn't
Yeah.
help that they're also kind of partnered with UFC too. I mean, Dana's not too high on him, so I'm sure they didn't fight for him.
Well, I think they had fought. I think Triple H had fought for him quite a bit, and I think this last thing that happened at the airport was kind of the final straw. I think.
Yeah.
I think, and I think that he'd get another opportunity with Triple H if he straightened up. If he'd go to rehab, straighten up, and straighten out his life, I think he'd be fine. But I don't seem like that's what he wants to do, at least not at this point. And the other thing, real quick, what do you guys think about SmackDown going to USA Network? That'll be going in October of 2024.
I liked it on Fox, to be honest. I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but I
Well,
don't know. I liked it being.
I liked it on Fox too, but they got a pay raise. That's about money. They got over $300 million a year for 5 years. So
Are all three gonna be on USA now?
the rumor I hear that all the USA wants now is SmackDown. So Raw and NXT is going somewhere else. And there's rumors
Yeah,
about
that's what I
Raw.
thought.
There's rumors about Raw about not being on Monday night anymore.
Huh.
So we'll see. And then one thing, I read an article, you guys, about one reason that they would like to get off Monday nights to quit competing with football.
I mean, that makes sense.
Because the ratings do take a big hit now with football.
I mean, I feel like that's why they probably put their pay-per-views to Saturdays for the most part now.
Yeah, could be.
Rob said he thinks he'll have a little more freedom on USA, which they might. I know
Yeah.
Fox, hell, they were blocking
Yeah.
out asshole.
Asshole. Yeah, blocking out asshole.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I think they'll have more freedom. What do you think about the rumor that they may go to a third hour on SmackDown with being on USA?
I mean, honestly, I can't get into SmackDown a lot because it's not enough time. They use a lot of the time on the same people, so I get into Raw a lot more than SmackDown, so I'm down for it.
I don't know if you noticed also, I think it seems like on regular TV, at least it does to me, there's more commercials on regular TV than there is cable. To me, it seems that way. Now, I could be wrong. But
Yeah.
It seems that way.
I don't know if they do that, maybe they'll be able to have actual championship matches without commercials in them. The Io Sky one, that was annoying having commercials in the middle of a championship match.
She looked good, though.
Oh, it was a great match. I don't think if they can somehow work a deal where there's more, like, like not during the match, like some other part of the show, just because I don't think you should have those in the middle of a championship match.
Yeah, but that's how they pay the bills. That's how when
It also should have just been on a pay-per-view, though. It shouldn't have been on a weekly show.
Well, yeah.
I understand it is how they. I mean, they make money off that, but there's also ways you could do it. Because I mean, like even with the McAfee show on ESPN, like today, the first hour and the third hour were both paid for by Verizon. So that's how he's doing his stuff, where he's gonna have commercials on ESPN. So I mean, there's ways you could do it, especially for like one match.
Oh, it can be done.
I'm thinking. I just feel like they should put the effort to do
for
that.
one match, they could.
It's harder on network though, regular network than it is on USA. USA they do that at first hour sometimes. Regular network TV,
That's true.
Fox got control of that, so it'd be harder for WWE to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, next up we're gonna let Marcus do his Indiana wrestling thing real quick, and then we'll get into our underrated wrestling stuff.
I was not familiar with this guy at all. Roger Kirby. I don't know. He was a bruiser. era wrestler, and he's from Muncie.
Yep.
And he's buried in Muncie. He's out at the cemetery out there. So
Really?
yeah,
I
he's
didn't
out
know
at
that.
the Memorial Cemetery or whatever the Memorial Park Cemetery is. He's out there. So I was not familiar with it, but
Yeah, Kirby, I think wrestled also. Well, you'll tell me. Did he wrestle in some AWA?
yeah, he wrestled mainly NWA, but yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay, Roger Kirby. He was born December 14th, 1939 in Muncie, Indiana. He competed in the U.S., Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Dick the Bruiser's WWA show in Indianapolis, in the state of Indiana, really. He mainly worked for the NWA. He was a former NWA junior heavyweight champion. He did have a few matches in WWE. I'm guessing those are probably like those jobber matches on TV.
Talent
he was a
enhancement
jobber.
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But his fellow wrestlers say he was one of the greatest workers to ever perform. That's with his co-workers. So, the names he went by he was of course Roger Kirby. He was also known as Rip Kirby, Bob Baker, Billy Baker, and Cruiser. He debuted in 1960, retired in 1986. He was trained by Dick the Bruiser and the Sheik in Indianapolis, and was cousin to Les Thatcher. And Les Thatcher is known for training a bunch of talent, including Brian Pillman. So,
Well, Les Thatcher was a pretty good wrestler. Yeah. Yeah.
he was in. I didn't write down all the champions that he held, but he did hold tag team titles with Les Thatcher in several places. So,
Yeah, he was pretty big in Puerto Rico. I know you mentioned Puerto Rico. He was pretty big over in Puerto Rico.
I think when I get done tonight, I'm going to see a YouTube stuff because I know he's got to be on there. I just surprised I was not ever familiar with him. Prior to wrestling, he was a Golden Glove boxer. He graduated in 1957 and then attended a pro wrestling school. Oh, okay. He graduated in 1957, and then shortly after graduation, there was a wrestling event there at his school, and that's how he fell in love with wrestling. He got into it with Ron Shire. Now, Ron Shire, he's one of the famous Shire brothers. That's the one my grandmother hit with a purse in Crawfordsville. I don't know if it was Ron or Roy, but that was the Shire brothers. He got in trouble for standing on the ring apron, so he went and told his mom, "Hey, that guy yelled at me." His mom said, "You tell him your cousin's husband was is Cowboy Dennis Hall, which was also a wrestler." Then, so he found out that his cousin was there, so he made a visit to Hall, and soon after wrestled as Wild Bill Baker. He worked at a glass factory. Now, do you guys have a glass factory there in Muncie? Because I know there's one in Elwood.
I think it was. I bet you it was Dunkirk.
Okay.
Dunkirk had a real popular one.
Yeah, it's still it's still
there
open.
because I had two brothers worked at the Dunkirk glass
It's
factory.
changed names, but still,
Okay,
there's
yeah.
still a big one in Dunkirk. We did have a big glass warehouse
Yeah.
here in Muncie,
I bet
but
you-
Yeah.
we didn't have I think we had like the factory.
I bet it was Dunkirk.
And Dunkirk's only about 20, 25 minutes, 25, 30 minutes from Muncie.
Took him 4 years to train, but then he went full time, and after 4 years of training and working, he worked the factory and then wrestled on the weekend. But then after 4 years, he went full time. He worked in territories in Georgia, Florida, Oregon, Minnesota, and Kansas City. And Kansas City is where he lived and died there at the end. And he held tons of titles all over the U.S. So, like I said, I was not familiar with Roger Kirby, but I will, before the night's over, have a little more knowledge because I'll go on eBay. Yelp, that's where I'm going. YouTube.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. Yeah, matter of fact, Marcus, I had a guy. I was at Walmart one day, got off work, and was doing some grocery shopping, and a guy who watches our show stopped me and said, "When are you guys going to talk about Roger Kirby?" He was from Muncie, and I told him we would someday. So,
Yep.
you just
I was
did it.
fascinated. I can't believe I don't know, even though being a Bruiser era wrestler, I'm surprised I've not heard my dad talk about him. So,
Okay, well, we'll move on. But real quick, I wanted to ask, especially Austin, because I know you follow, and maybe Chris too, and Marcus, you could chime in because you know about him. Where do you think Dolph Ziggler ends up?
I hope he ends up on the Indies. I hope we see him. I hope Mike gets him and throws him on Jay County next year or something.
Well, I think he could clean up on the Indies.
You know.
I don't know. I don't really want to see him to AEW because I just don't think he'll be used there. Honestly, maybe Impact. Maybe Impact could be a
I
good
think
place.
Impact would be a good spot.
Maybe a
And
little
it's
more
still-
creative. You know, he can have a little more. So
AEW, his brother's there. So and,
yeah, I know. Yeah,
I guess he's wrestling on the Ring of Honor side. I would prefer him to go to Impact, and with Impact you can do a lot of the indies anyway too. There, I would.
Yep.
I think if you put him on Impact and put the belt on him, I think it helps him.
I think he could go to Impact, and maybe if he wants to go, you know, maybe they could go do some shows at AEW too, show up. You know, they've done that before, but I would rather see him like fully in Impact than AEW.
I was surprised that Sheldon Benjamin didn't end up in NXT as a coach.
I wonder if they offered him and maybe he just didn't want to.
Well, that's a possibility. Yeah, Bully Ray and them, they want Sheldon Benjamin to join John Moxley and Cesaro as far as that club, because they say he can. They said Benjamin probably right now could whip probably anybody in pro wrestling, because he's a shooter. He's a real wrestler. He'd take you down and he could put it on you. Of course, he trained with Brock Lesnar. Yeah. So,
I mean, if he gets some screen time, I guess. I'm just not a big fan of what they've been doing with that club, really, to be honest. It's not really the wrestling I like to watch for the most part.
okay. Well, we'll move on. Next up, we had our top 5 most underrated wrestlers. And this is, everybody picks on that. And then I've got a bracket of Sportsters. The Sportsters 16 most underrated pro wrestlers. We'll go through that bracket.
Now, how many did you guys get down? Did you actually get down to 5?
I did 5. If you got more, that's fine.
I got 2 sets of 5.
Okay.
I actually have 12, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't. He does that, Austin. He'll say, "Do 5." Like, okay, yeah, I'll narrow this down to 5.
Okay. Well, I could have did more, but I got my 5. I'm gonna give my top 5. My number 5 most underrated was, for me, Bam Bam Bigelow. I thought he was very underrated for what he could do in the ring. I don't think he ever got the push that he deserved. Number 4, he had a lot of success, but I think he deserved more, and that's Goldust. I think as good as he is in the ring, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Cody Rhodes is fantastic in the ring, but his brother's just as good in the ring too.
In the ring, yeah, I agree.
But he had to. Cody had the advantage of having his brother come before him and take all the, his dad, and kind of a buffer, and that kind of helped Cody a little bit. That's kind of my opinion. Because everybody, when they seen Dustin with the blonde hair, and he came out, started with Dusty, he was just in his shadow, and he had to do something different. That's why he went to the gimmick that he did. And Will Cody even had to leave the WWE and really find his own path to become the big star that he is. But I think Goldust, number 3, a guy, I don't know if you'll agree with this one, Austin, but I thought he was fantastic, still do. It's William Regal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, another one underrated. Number 2 for me, had a lot of success, but I never thought he got the success he deserved. Also was Barry Windham. I think he's one of the better wrestlers in the ring of all time. Probably not being super great on the mic hurt him. And then for me, the number 1 most underrated for me was Mr. Perfect. And that's my 5.
Yeah.
So who wants to go next?
I can go next, but I just want to say one thing. Bigelow, I didn't grow up watching him, but I've seen matches. Yeah, he's not someone I hear about, but he was really good for a bigger guy. So I don't have him on my list because it's just not really my time. But I can do mine next, I guess.
Okay.
So I have 12 wrestlers, 11 spots because I actually have 2 people tied at a spot.
Okay.
At 11, I had D'Lo Brown. Someone I think just was looked over in that time. I think he was pretty solid in the ring, and he was pretty good at getting a reaction out of the crowd. 10, I had MVP. One of the best heels and one of the best United States champions of his time, in my opinion. 9, you could say he's not underrated because he did have a really big career. I had Kane because I think he's just kind of always been in the shadow of Undertaker, and I personally think he's better in the ring than the Undertaker. You know, I know a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with that, but I think he is. 8, I had Mark Henry. Um, he had a little time to shine in his like the later years of his career, but they didn't do much with him. 7, I had Goldust. Everything you said, I agree with. I think at his best, he was probably better than Cody in the ring. Number 6, I had Ivory. Um, Not someone you really hear anybody talk about. Um, I think she was just ahead of her time as a woman wrestler.
Mhm.
5, I had Victoria. Um, the same thing. I think if you put Victoria in her prime against some of the best women these days, I think she could put on some of the best matches of all time. All right,
Also,
number
Victoria's going to be at that Jay County show,
She's
yeah,
also
yeah,
been
you
in
said that.
Lafayette.
isn't it?
She's gonna be in Lafayette.
Lafayette.
Lafayette. I thought they had her in Jay County too.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think she is.
The
Yeah.
Cornfield Carnage?
I thought they did.
Oh.
I thought,
I could be
yeah, I'm
wrong.
pretty sure she's on the. I think she's on
She's on the
the.
poster now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Number 4 is actually the one I have tied. So number 4, I have 2 people. I have X-Pac and Alex Shelley. You didn't say it was just WWE wrestlers, so I went with one of my
No,
favorite. Yeah.
It's all fine.
Alex Shelley is one of the best TNA wrestlers of all time. Very overlooked. Kind of a pioneer of that X division. He's actually, I think, the world champion right now, which is pretty cool to see. But I think he's one of the best wrestlers in TNA history, and it would have been cool to see him in WWE. And X-Pac, I think he was the most underrated member in DX. I think he's one of the best in the ring. Very innovative. He was one of the first people you've seen do that style in WWE. Not like one of the first ever, but like just in WWE.
Yeah.
Number 3, I have Xavier Woods. Big E got his time to shine. Kofi did. Where's Xavier's championship? I'm waiting for that. He got the King of the Ring, but it lasted like a month.
Yeah.
I think he's the best on the mic from day one out of all 3. He's very underrated in the ring. He's had great matches with Roman, with Drew. I think he's very highly underrated. Number 2, Shelton Benjamin. He was putting on some of the best matches. His first round, when he came back, he was a little bigger, but he was still able to move and do well. And it was kind of crazy. He never got the belt, and it does suck these reliefs. Hopefully, he goes and does something. And at number 1, I put Christian. I think he's by far the most underrated wrestler of all time. For me, I think he could have been the best heel champion of all time. I mean, I think he has the ability to do everything that Edge did. I like Edge more, but I think Christian is probably a better technical wrestler than Edge. And he was probably definitely better in the ring as Edge until like this last little run that Edge had, because Edge has been a lot more just smooth this last run he's had. But Christian on the mic as a heel and face, being able to get the crowd behind him, and all the matches speaks for himself. So that's who I had at number 1.
Yeah, because Edge had to change his style when he came back because of his neck, so he had to be. He had to change the style. So
Yeah.
I agree.
For some reason, Christian, it seemed like Vince always had it out for Christian. He was never going to let him get over. So there was rumors that he said that Christian was like one of the ugliest people he's ever seen. So I don't know how to, but yeah.
Tony's grandson.
But
I've also heard though that Christian, when you see him as a heel, he's not playing a heel. That's him. Bully Ray said he's one of the biggest dicks of all time. all the time. He said he's an asshole. He said he's that way all the time.
Yeah, he's always been one of my favorite. He's very underrated in my opinion. I think he could have been just as big as Edge, and I think the the fans would have been fine with it. They just never gave him the chance. He got a little run with Randy Orton, little feud that was great, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, he was big in Impact.
Yeah, he was great in Impact.
He had a great
He
run in
actually got
Impact.
well, they let him actually shine in Impact. So that's my list.
Yeah, he did. Okay, who wants to go next, Marcus or Chris?
Go ahead, Chris. I want to see if I have any matches. I already got one. I matched one with
Everybody? Just one?
just one with Austin.
Okay.
But he's
All right.
right on. I'm telling you, the X-Pac, I was almost put him on there. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I didn't put them in no particular order. I just wrote down, but I had Dolph Ziggler. I think he's been way underused in WWE from what he could have been.
Yep.
I put Chad Gable. I know he's still an active wrestler now, but I think he's way underrated. I think he's a lot better than the respect he gets. I had William Regal. Then I had Owen Hart. I think Owen Hart was way underrated before the accident happened. I know we didn't get to see what would have happened after that, but he was a guy I felt like he was ahead of his time with his athleticism compared to some of the guys back then.
I want to ask you guys real quick. Do you think that was because of being in the shadow of Brett?
Yes.
he could out wrestle Brad. I can tell you that.
I think he was better.
I think it was more of just the shadow of his of the Hart family.
The whole family. Yeah.
Back then they always was talking about Stu. They were always.
He was kind of always the odd one out.
Dungeon, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it was more the whole Hart family than it was maybe just like Brett's shadow.
Yeah, if you look at where the wrestling is now, Owen was so far ahead of his time.
Yeah. I personally think Owen was better than Brett in the ring. Just my opinion.
No, I agree with that too.
I don't disagree. And Brett was great in the ring. But...
Yeah.
And then I had William Regal.
Yep.
And then I had Dean Malenko. Other than not being great on the mic, he could do about anything else.
Yeah.
And then one that's not a lot of people don't like, but I think he was underrated. Chris Benoit. I think Chris Benoit as a wrestler was underrated for what he could do in the ring and everything. I know the way it ended, he gets looked at different, but if you just go by his wrestling ability and stuff, I think he could have been used better than what he was used.
Well, that and mic skills hurt him too.
Yeah, he wasn't the best.
And that also hurt Sheldon Benjamin, mic skills.
Yeah.
It did. I mean, I hate it, but it did. That hurt Sheldon, mic skills. Okay, Marcus.
All right. Well, as the honorable mentions, I wrote them on afterwards. X-Pac, I agree. I also put Dean Malenko after you said that. I don't know if you remember SmackDown 2 on PlayStation 2. It was a video game. I always put X-Pac and Dean Malenko, and there was never a winner on any time. They always went to the time limit. So even the video game couldn't figure out who was the better of the two. So, yeah. Okay, my two matches, I had D'Lo Brown. I agreed with that. Very underrated. And I had Owen Hart. It'd been interesting to see where he went if he was still here. So, okay, mine's a little more old school. I had Paul Roma. He did have a run with Hercules as Power and Glory, but I really think Paul Roma could have gone. I mean, I know he was part of the NWO or the Four Horsemen or something, but he still was the fifth wheel. In a four-man team, he was still the fifth wheel. It made no sense, but I think they could have done more with Paul Roma. Al Perez, I think he just kind of dropped off the face of the earth after he left WCCW. I think he's in WCW for a little bit.
He was in he was on WWF for just a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and he just fell off the earth. I thought he looked like he was the Seth Rollins of the 80s, I think. He had that look and that style, and he just kind of disappeared. Of course, Jerry Blackwell. I don't think I've been, you know how I feel about Jerry Blackwell. I had Rick Martel. I know he had some tag titles in WWE with several different people and was an AWA champion, but I don't think they used Rick Martel like they should have.
I agree with you.
That whole model crap, that's all it was crap. I mean, you could just tell he didn't want to be doing that stupid stuff, doing that posing with like he was in a fashion show. You could just tell he hated that crap.
Had that. I don't know why you even call that thing that sprayed out the perfume.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you would call that thing. But I've never seen it before.
Well, if you remember, if you go back tons of years, Gorgeous George had a guy that used one of those misters or
Okay.
things.
That's probably where they got it from.
Yeah. My female, I had Molly Holly. I don't think they've used her like they should have. She fits in with
That's a good
Ivory and
one, too.
Victoria.
I almost put her on the list. It was close.
Now, a guy that kind of got screwed for doing what he was told, Dr. D. David Schultz. Bit interesting to see. I bet there was a Dr. D. David Schultz Hogan feud coming, but since he got, he was told what to do, then they fired him for doing what he was told, and I really think there was a lot more there, even though he shot the ceiling at his house and yelled at his kids.
Yeah, Austin, or real quick, Marcus. Austin, do you know who Dr. D. David Schultz is? I've
heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometime get on. You can get it on YouTube, or you can get it on the WWE Network or Peacock or whatever, and look up Tuesday Night Titans, and look at the episode where they go to Dr. D. David Schultz's house.
What's episode 1? It's very
It was episode 1. So
easy to find it.
And then also look for the one where they have a wedding. It's also hilarious too. It's unbelievable.
Then he also had the one where he shot the guns through the roof. And there's like 3 episodes, but you also need to look at 2020 David Schultz 2020 episode. Then you'll see what happened there, where he smacked that muscle.
John Stossel asked him if wrestling was fake, and he slapped him on this side of the ear, busted his eardrum, slapped him on the other side of the ear, busted his eardrum, and asked him if it was fake now.
Yeah, I've heard of him, but that's not really the Dave Schultz I think of when I hear the name.
Yeah, you think of the amateur wrestler,
yeah. Also, the other real good one is the interview. I don't think it ever aired on regular TV, because I don't think it could have, but when he starts talking about Hulk Hogan and AWA, Hogan had just left AWA to go WWE, and he told him, "Yeah, you're back where you need to be in San Francisco with all those people in San Francisco." I can't say the stuff he was saying. You need to look up that interview. It's hilarious. Mean Gene couldn't keep it together. Mean Gene finally had to leave camera.
Yeah, that was because he says, "I dated women, I dated men, I dated men that look like women, y'all."
It's unbelievable.
You got me laughing. I had Ming or Haku. Guy was a beast. I think he could probably handed Brock Lesnar his ass, to be honest with you, but nobody ever.
Yeah, there's not too many people that wanted to mess with him.
And then I had Sean O'Hare. I think he was good.
That's a good one.
They didn't know what to do with him.
Yep.
Almost, I thought about that. Putting him on it as well.
Well, the problem is, Marcus, at least in my opinion, he was in WCW, and they come over to WWF, and I think a lot of those guys, they had him, but I don't think they wanted him to make it.
No, that's when the acquisition took place, and they didn't know what to do with all those guys. So, but
unless you was Booker T or a couple other ones, you wasn't going to make it. So I think that was part of his problem.
Yeah,
so that was my top 10 plus 2 honorary mentions. So,
and real quick, also, you guys, I think something that hurt D'Lo is the accident where the guy got hurt, and it was just an accident. I mean, and I think that hurt his career. I mean, I do, and it was
Well, it was the fifth wheel in the Nation of Domination. He was just there because of his color.
Yep.
And then they didn't know what to do with him. I mean, he had those skits with Mark Henry in China, and they just made a comic out of him, and he was more talented than that. So
they show up, and he's the chauffeur. he's the chauffeur, and China said, "D'Lo, what are you doing?"
Wasn't he in the delivery room for Hand too? Handy?
I think he was there. He was in the delivery room for Hand.
He was dealt crap. And
if you watch back like the old Raws and the old pay-per-view, like he always got a reaction from the crowd too. Like he can make them care about what he was doing. They just never gave him a legit shot.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, guys, next up, I've got the Sportster 16 most underrated wrestlers of all time in a bracket, and we'll go through that and see what we think. First matchup is number 1 versus the 16. Their number 1 most underrated wrestler was Jake Snake Roberts, and he's going against number 16, Dean Malenko.
I'm picking Dean Malenko. I've seen more.
I think
I'm gonna go with Jake.
Well, what
do
were
you
they
think
going
he's
to underrated
Okay.
though?
Yeah, but
Well,
are
that's
we-
true. That's true.
I mean, I think he might be a little underrated, but not near as
Are we
underrated
picking-
as Dean.
Are we picking who we think's more underrated or who we
Yeah,
think's
that's
the
what
best?
I think.
Dean
I think
Malenko, then for sure.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
Dean
Dean
Malenko, but
Malenko's
I don't
more-
understand why Jake would be
I
underrated.
Number 1.
in number 1, yeah.
He shouldn't even be on that list, I don't think. So
I don't.
That's who they had number 1. But yeah, I agree with you guys. What do you guys think out there? I think Dean Malenko.
I think Dean's way more underrated.
Jake could sell tickets. I mean, you're not underrated if you can't sell tickets, and he could. People.
He was a big name.
I think it's going to be Dean. Next matchup we have a number 8 and 9. This is going to be interesting. Number 8, Sheldon Benjamin against number 9, the Dynamite Kid. That's tough.
Dynamite Kid was very influential for like a lot of wrestlers. Like I know, like I've heard like Chris Jericho and a lot of others. Like, but I mean, I'd have to go Sheldon.
You have the Dynamite Kid, which is Bulldog. Who's Bulldog?
What?
And the who was the other one? Dynamite Kid and
Sheldon.
Sheldon Benjamin.
He's
That's tough. See, in WWE, Dynamite Kid was mostly a tag team. He didn't wrestle very many single matches in WWE. He wrestled most of his single matches in Japan.
Yeah.
And he was a big star in Japan. What do you think?
I think I'll go with Sheldon Benjamin.
I think I'd go with Sheldon too.
I am too, because I didn't go for the Dynamite Kid. And for what Bruce had just said, I almost put Chuck Palumbo on there, but they did that gay gimmick with Billy Gunn, and that kind of destroyed his time in the spotlight too. So
don't forget Rico.
Rico.
That was their manager.
Yeah.
I'm laughing about the wedding that they even had. I have the TV guide around here where they advertise the wedding.
Well, you remember who the preacher was? It was Bischoff.
Yeah, that's shit.
Okay, our next matchup is number 5. Underrated is Kane. Their number 12 was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's another one. Do you guys think Steamboat's that underrated? I think Steamboat probably don't get as much as he deserves.
I think Kane is more underrated. I think Steamboat's one of the best of all time. He's looked at as one of the best in the ring. Kane is, like I said in mine, he's more overshadowed. So I say Kane is more underrated.
I think I disagree. I think I agree with that too. What do you think, Marcus?
Steamboat. I'm going Steamboat.
It looks like Kane's going to get it.
Yeah,
I
Kelly
figured
says
Kane would get it.
Kane.
Yeah, I figured Kane would get it, but
Well, so far we're not agreeing with these guys at all.
JC says Kane.
no.
Yeah. Kane is one of JC's favorites.
Next up is number 4, Michael Tundo, or IRS. And number 13, Ultimo Dragon.
I feel like Ultimo's. I think he's more known. He's more of a bigger name across everywhere. So I would say Rotunda.
Yeah, I'm going Rotundo. Again, he was put in a poor situation a lot of times.
Ultimo was great in Japan, and he was real good on WCW, but it never got real big. I mean, he was big, but you know what I mean. He just certain levels because he never got to the level he probably deserved because you had Hogan and all them guys at the top, and they're only going to let you go so far. Just like Jericho and Benoit and them guys, they was only going to be allowed to go so far because of who was at the top. So Ultimo was only going to go so far. But Tundo's really great. Man, I don't know. Because Rotundo was outstanding in the ring. I mean, he wrestled collegiately, played football collegiately also at Syracuse. What do you think, Chris?
I'll say Rotundo.
I think I'm gonna go with Rotundo also. I think Rotundo's gonna get it. Next matchup's number 2 against number 15. I think it's gonna be an easy one. Number 2, William Regal against number 15, Doink the Clown.
William
I
Regal.
knew Marcus.
Sounds
I
another-
knew Marcus.
Never
I knew Marcus was there.
Nobody gave a shit
knew
about
that was-
Doink the Clown. He
Which
was a
Doink?
I knew Marcus was gonna say that. Yeah, I agree with Regal.
It's Regal, but which Doink are they talking? Is it the
Well,
original
that's the
Doink?
thing.
Or?
There was 400 Doinks, so who do you?
The original Doink
Yeah, I
is
don't know.
probably the best version of Doink, but William
I
Regal.
think so.
I'll go with Regal too. I thought for sure Marcus was going to pick Doink on
I
this.
did too.
Well, hell, I
That's
will.
who's wrong.
I will if it was in the
Okay.
top 20 worst wrestlers of all time, and Doink would be on that list.
Next one, number 7 against number 10. Number 7, Lance Storm against number 10, Goldust.
Yeah, Lance
That's a-
Storm. That's another yes. I'll go with Lance Storm.
I'm going Lance Storm just because even though Goldust didn't get what he deserves, he's still a name that everybody knows and respects. So I'm going Lance Storm.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. Storm, again, what hurt Storm was his personality.
But he couldn't talk. Yeah, that's another one. He was so blah.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But the thing is, if they would have tried more to give him a gimmick that would match that, I think he could have. I mean, there's people like that didn't talk that much that got over, could still get over with a manager or just like, if they would have gave him the right thing.
Well, I think he was fantastic in ECW when he was with Just Incredible.
Yeah.
But when they
And
brought
he-
him in
Yeah.
WCW,
Yeah,
it was like,
He had a good run and impact too. Storm did. Not as good as ECW, but
Yeah.
What do you
I'll go
think, Chris?
Storm.
I'm torn here. I don't know.
I think I'm going to go Goldust.
Well, we got a.
oh, speaking of Goldust, Kelly talked to Brody last week. He broke his wrist down there, everyone.
Oh,
He's doing okay. He just broke his wrist. So,
okay. Who do I want to go with?
And for people that might just be tuning in, reason he brought that up is Brody is down there training with
Dustin
Rhodes
in Texas.
in Texas at his school.
We got a Goldust. We got a Storm. We got 3 Storms. I'm gonna go Storm. So it's gonna be Storm. Next up, number 6, Bam Bam Bigelow against number 11, Rick Rude.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, real tough.
now you're going to make me think.
I'm gonna go just because of I think ahead of his time as a big man who could do all. So I'm gonna go Bam. I'm gonna go Bam Bam Bigelow.
He was in a main event at WrestleMania though.
That's true. He was.
Worst WrestleMania main event of all time, but
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was just there to get them over. It could have been anybody across the ring,
Yeah. Well, you're probably right.
and I think that's what they were going for.
Well, I think they needed a big guy. They needed somebody that could make
Yeah.
him look good, and he made him look good. So I mean,
Yeah.
He did
I'm
his
going
job.
that
Bigelow.
right there will show you how he's underrated. I was getting ready to say Rick
I
Rude,
think-
but
I
I
think-
just thought
I
that
think
out.
Bigelow's more underrated than Rude. What do you think? I think Bigelow's more underrated.
Yeah, because he made Lawrence Taylor look good. That you got it. You convinced me to change my vote there.
Number 3, Brian Pillman. Number 14, Canyon.
Oh,
Canyon.
I
Brian Pillman's demons got him, and then he hurt himself really bad. He could have gone on big time. I just think he had too much stuff hit him too quick.
I think Pillman's looked at as like someone that had the potential. Like he is looked at. So I'm gonna say Canyon too. He never really got a fair shot.
I think they froze up on us.
I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Canyon or Pillman? I think Pillman.
I'm gonna go Pillman, but I think it's his demons got him.
I'm going Canyon.
Canyon also had a bad rap too because of
I'm going to go Pillman.
communication. So
You said Pillman? Looks like we'll be Pillman. Okay, guys, we're going to the next round. First matchup is Dean Malenko against Sheldon Benjamin. Who's more underrated?
Dean Malenko.
It's very similar personalities. I mean, they, that's tough because I don't know that Dean is a lot better in the ring than Benjamin. That's really tough.
I'm gonna go Sheldon. I'm gonna go Sheldon.
We got 2 Deans. We got 3 Deans.
I just think Shelton had the potential to be a really big star in WWE.
I'm
And I
going
think
with
he
Sheldon.
could've-
So right now we're 3-3. I need one more vote, guys.
Come on, JC, vote for
JC
Sheldon.
just came up with Shelton.
Well, that was
Is Bruce still on there? Come on, Bruce.
Hey, how's it going, TJ Power?
I need one more vote, guys. We're tied. Who is more underrated? Dean Malenko or Sheldon Benjamin? Somebody help me out here. Who is more underrated as a wrestler in the ring? Sheldon Benjamin or Dean Malenko?
I just feel like Dean's looked at as one of the best ever in the ring technical. And Shelton definitely looked at as someone that could do everything in the ring, just very different.
Bruce went with Malenko.
Okay, so Malenko moves on.
Who won?
Dean.
Dean.
Next up is
Well, and then right after that, Billy popped in with Sheldon.
he missed the cut. Sorry. Next up is Kane against Mike Rotundo. Who's more underrated?
More underrated? I'm going to say Rotundo.
I'm on
I think
Rotundo.
Rotundo's more underrated. I think Rotundo's more underrated.
He might be more underrated, but I think Kane. I'm gonna say Kane because I think he was very underrated and he got bigger, but I think it was more just situations that they were put in that Kane was able to get a little more success. But I'm still gonna go Kane.
Oh, but Kane's in the Hall of Fame, isn't
He is.
Mhm.
He like 2
he?
years
I don't
ago.
think Rotundo is it? I don't think yet. Where is he? Is Rotundo in?
I don't think
I don't think so.
I think he should be, but Rotundo, we got a Kane, RS. Looks like it's going to be Rotundo. Next up, William Regal, because there is a Steve Regal, but William Regal and Lance Storm. To me, it's William Regal. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. William Regal.
I'll say William Regal because what he could do on the mic as well, just as a whole.
And he had demons too.
Yeah.
A lot of demons also. William Regal gets it there. Next up, Bam Bam Bigelow and Brian Pillman.
Bam
Hey,
Bam.
who? Your dog got the barking.
Brian Pillman and Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'm going
Your
Bigelow.
opinion don't count, dogs.
I'm going Bigelow.
I think Bigelow also.
Yeah, I'd say Bigelow.
We're down to our final 4. And just to recap here, we've got a number 6 against a number 2. That's Bigelow against Regal. And we've got a number 4 Rotundo against a number 16 Dean Malenko. So we'll do that first. Dean Malenko or Mike Rotundo, and that's going by most underrated. Now, who you thought the best wrestler was? Who's more underrated?
I like to see them two guys wrestle each other.
I would have
Their
too.
styles were so similar. Man.
Rotundo would have had quite a bit of size on him, but it's still, I think it'd been a great match.
I'm on Rotundo.
I'm going Malenko.
What do you think, Chris? That's 50-50 for me. I'm going Dean.
I'm going to go with Rotundo just because I think Rotundo was a little. I think he was a little more.
On us, so it's up to the audience now.
Looks like it's going to be Rotundo.
Yeah, and Billy just
Yeah.
came in.
It's going to be Rotundo, guys.
Well, I'm going Rotundo because I think he had a little bit more. I think he was a little bit more talented than Malenko was, and and he never got that push a little bit farther.
And guys, this is gonna be tough. William Regal against Bam Bam Bigelow.
I'm going Bam Bam. I'm going Bigelow.
I don't think Regal ever got what he deserved either.
I don't disagree with you, but I think Bigelow was way ahead of his time.
I'm going Regal.
I'm going Regal too because was Regal ever? Well, he was Intercontinental Champion, but wasn't he? But was he any?
He was some champions in
Was
WCW,
he
lower level.
Yeah,
WCW.
but he never got no like bigger. Bam Bam was in WrestleMania, main event of WrestleMania.
I get that, but it's a different time. You know, Regal was around when you had Stone Cold and The Rock at their high, Triple H, and you know we had them, but you had Hulk Hogan and all that. But
remember this. Also, you probably don't remember this. You might vaguely remember, but I know Marcus will remember when Bam Bam came to WWE or WWF. It was a big deal. I mean, they had managers. They set up where managers was trying to trying to bid for him, and everybody was trying to get him. They made a big deal when he came in.
Then who became his manager? You remember?
Yeah. I can see him. But
Humperdinck.
I can see him, but Humperdinck. I could see him, but I couldn't say his name. Oliver Humperdinck.
Who did you?
I'm going Bam Bam.
I don't think he said that.
I'm going to split this. Bam Bam. I'm going with Austin.
Two Bam Bams. We got Regal.
We've been split the whole time.
We got 3 Regals. We got Bam Bams. 4 Bam Bams.
There's 3 up here, so that's
Bam Bam. Bam Bam, you won't get it today. That was a close one. Okay. He's in the finals and against Rotundo.
Damien DeVille said Regal.
Yep. That was 2 right.
No, he was in there.
Oh, yeah.
Time. There was one more Bam Bam than.
Marcus don't like this.
I agree.
Okay, we got a number 6 seed against a number 4 seed in the finals. Who's more underrated, Rotundo or Bam Bam?
I know Bam Bam got the main event, but I'm sticking with Bigelow.
I think between them two, Rotundo had WWE or WWF tag team titles with a few times.
Yeah.
With DiBiase, with Barry Windham early on. He had a lot of mid titles in WCW. I'm going with Bam Bam.
Bam Bam was the ECW champion, but it's that Lawrence Taylor thing that keeps me going there. He made Lawrence Taylor look so good at
We got a couple RSs.
I'm gonna go Bigelow.
Bigelow.
Mid-America should have lost it sounds like.
Man, I'll go with Bigelow. But that's a close one for me.
I agree with you guys. How'd they have Jake Snake Roberts number 1 underrated?
He shouldn't have been on the list.
No.
The fact that, I think Christian, of course, I had Christian number 1, so of course I think, but Christian not being in the top 16 underrated is a little crazy to me.
I think because he did hold a lot of tag team titles. Jake Snake never held a title, I don't think.
He didn't need to.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't disagree with it.
He's like
Piper held Intercontinental for like 2 months.
And see, that made no sense. If you really think about that, he held that belt, but it didn't really mean nothing. I think he was a transition champion to put it back on Brett.
Yeah, he was to give it to Brett to try to put Brett over and help take. Well, Brett says that took him to the next level. Brett said Piper that's one of his favorite matches. They thought he had a good match, and he thought that took him to the next level. Because he said, when you look at the people I beat at that point, Piper was probably the biggest name. This is according to Brett that he had beat up to that time.
Do you remember who Piper beat to get that belt?
It was the Mountie.
And the Mountie won it because Brett had the flu, legitimate flu.
Yep.
And then they just had to get it off the Mountie, and Piper wasn't going to lose to the Mountie, so I think that's the only reason he got that title. He didn't need to have that belt at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, I agree. I think Bigelow is probably one of the most underrated of all time. Definitely.
Yeah. And, I mean, you don't ever hear about him either as much as you should.
How many are still alive on that list? I mean, Bigelow's gone.
Malenko's still around. Roberts is still around. Benjamin is. Dynamite Kid's gone. Kane's alive. Steamboat's alive. Rotundo. I assume Ultimo Dragon's still alive.
Yeah.
William Regal's still alive. Doink is, well,
Well, no, Doink's gone. You can say because that was Matt Bourne.
yeah.
The original.
Yeah. Rick Rude's gone.
Storm's around. Bigelow's gone. Rude's gone. Pillman's gone. Canyon's gone.
That's 12.
So about half of them's gone.
I think that was like 11 or 12.
Yeah. If you look at WrestleMania 7, I think they said there's only like three of them people even still around. Of WrestleMania 7, most of them guys they're all gone.
Well, okay, guys, real quick, I just wanted to plug what we're doing next week. I think it's gonna be fun. Hey, if some of you guys would want to do it and chime in, we're doing our on October 2nd. We're doing a dream cards, 8-match dream cards, and we got some special guests going to be involved. The new school ones are going to be Tony, myself, Austin, Chris, and what's McLaughlin's first name? Do you remember?
It's Aaron, but Warren Misery.
Aaron.
Warren Misery.
Okay.
What day
Warren Misery. Okay, and we'll be doing new school, and then old school will be Marcus, Mr. Danger, Damon DeVille, and Big Glenn. We're going to be doing the old school. So you do 8 matches. You do your venue. You do your concessions. You do ring announcer, play-by-play, entertainment. You can do your national anthem, all that kind of stuff. So I think you can name your show also. And I think that's pretty much it. Unless there's something you guys think we need to add.
No, I don't think that covered it.
Ring announcers, play-by-play. I'm working on mine.
Mine's almost
I already
done.
got mine done. Mine's done.
I got to come up with my entertainment. I may not do that. If you have a strong enough card, you don't need entertainment. That is your entertainment.
Yeah, I don't have entertainment.
Chris knows who my entertainment's going to be.
I know who your entertainment's going to be.
Think about it. If I was going to have a band there, who would it be?
Oh, if you have a band there, yeah.
We started a band. See, then I'd have to come up with an old school. I guess I could do that. I could put somebody in there, but your card's strong enough. You don't need that.
I'll tell you what, I'll give away my concession. We're having barbecue.
I'm not telling you my concessions. I'm not telling you my concessions.
Well, you better not steal my one idea. I'm going to punch you.
I doubt I stole anything from you. I'm pretty sure that if I did, then I don't know how I ever pulled it off. But
All right. Also, don't forget, if you missed Warrior Pro Wrestling yesterday, year 2, go check it out on our YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter pages at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You can we'll also be airing the JICW. It'll be on Thursday, probably at 7 o'clock. If it's not going to be at 7, I'll put up a graphic anyway, but
Yeah.
We'll say Thursday at 7.
Really good show.
double shot WCWO this weekend.
I don't know.
Friday and
Are we
Saturday?
going Friday or do you know?
Huh?
Are we going Friday or do you know?
Friday.
WCW, they're a big show.
Oh, well.
Yeah, check it out. I know we got a show Saturday for sure.
Yeah, I'll be at the Dub Friday. So,
I don't know. I gotta get a hold of Joey and talk to him.
Yep.
but yeah, Tony, are you going to be in Crawfordsville, Lebanon?
Well, my plan was no, but since my wife's sick, that may have changed things. So I may be there.
All right.
Because what I was wanting to do Saturday, we may not do Saturday now. It just depends on how she feels.
Right. I get it.
All right. Well, you have anything else?
No, I think we're good to go, guys. You guys got anything?
Nope.
No, this was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was real good.
We'll just I'll have to figure out the time about next week. I mean,
Okay.
if we can, I mean, I get off at 7:30, but if we push it back to 7:30, be a little better. I mean, I can always get on, but I can always get home when I get home if I have to miss some of it. But
Well, if we could probably, We might be able to move it back. Just let your dad know when you know your schedule for sure.
Yeah.
And then we'll put out a post.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
Yep.
All right. We appreciate everybody watching. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Gonzo'S Sports Room. Like and follow Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram on Gonzo'S Sports Room as well. And we'll see you guys next Monday.
That'd be absolutely devastating.
Here, this is G.W.R show. They've been trying to get me on this broadcast forever, and this is the worst damn broadcast I've ever been on. So you all kiss my ass while I win this match.